Hi guys, welcome back to the Book Babes. I'm Hannah,
I'm Makayla.
and we are so glad that you guys are here. Hope you guys had a good week. How was your week, Makayla?
It's okay. Math is kicking my butt, but what's new? Yeah, it was okay. Went on a hike. I almost perished. Like Carson was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be a bad hike." I sent you a picture of my body. I was swollen and I was red. Like my entire face, it didn't return color until I got home and showered and had some water, and that was 2 hours after. So anyway, it was really fun. It was really good. How was your week, Hannah?
It was good. Not much happened. Still out of work right now. They announced that they're going to be doing distance learning here for a little while. So, all of the kids are doing online school for, the first 4 weeks of school. But they've told me that because I work with special education, I should still get to go back next Monday. So, hopefully I get to go back to work next Monday because I'm bored and I miss my kid. So,
Yes, I forgot to mention that. I start work. I have meetings all next week, and then the week after I start, which will be interesting because I have a lot of kids. But anyway, that does sound fun, and I completely agree with you. I would miss my kids too. But anyway, so with that, we hope you guys had a great week, and let us know down below how it went, or if there's anything exciting that happened. But this week, as well as last and the previous and what will be next week, is we've talked about books based off of musicals or musicals that have books that coincide with them. So let's just get started. Hannah, would you like to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Okay. I'll go first. Okay, so I was super excited about this one. So I'm talking about The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baroness Orczy. So show you guys. That's the cover. I was super excited about this one. I read it originally in, I want to say, junior high, 9th grade. 9th grade honors English. This was one of the books that we had to read. And I was a little annoyed because by that point I had read a lot of classics, and I was like, can we read something that was not written 200 years ago, please? And please stop. And then one of my friends told me that this book had a musical based off of it. So read the book, watched the musical, and it has been one of my favorites ever since. So The Scarlet Pimpernel is set during the French Revolution, and there's quite a few musicals set during the French Revolution. Like we talked about Les Mis last week. That's the French Revolution. There's quite a few. There's others. Why can't I remember? There are. I swear there are others that are set during the French Revolution. But this one is kind of different because it's from the point of the view of some of the rich people. So a lot of stories about the French Revolution talk about the revolutionists and being sick of the people in power and how they're holding their revolution. A Tale of Two Cities, that one is also about the French Revolution. Also a very good musical. Anyway, so it was written by a baroness, so she kind of writes about it from the point of the view of they're not royalty, but they are higher class citizens who you know, in the beginning, when it was just about like overthrowing royalty, they wouldn't have been in danger. But near the end there, where like if you had money, you were a target, they would have been in danger. They were very rich people. So it follows the story of Marguerite. She is a very famous actress. She's considered like the most beautiful woman in France, and she sings and she has a show. She lives with her brother Armand. Their parents have passed. She lives with her brother Armand, and they're like best friends. While she's doing her show, she meets Percy, and Percy is from England, and he is just like traveling through France, and I think he actually saves Armand from like being mugged or something like that. He saves Armand and takes him home, and that's when he meets Marguerite. And they fall in love, they get married, and Percy takes her and Armand to England with him. So, Percy is very rich in England, and he thinks that the whole French Revolution is kind of crazy. Like they've gone too far, they're killing people, and it's too much right now. Like it's just too much going on. And he does all that he can to like help. Like he'll help people get visas to come into England and to escape from France and stuff like that. And he's very passionate about that. So on their wedding day, Percy finds out that Marguerite wrote a letter to Chauvelin. So Chauvelin is one of the higher people in the French Revolution. He's like up there with like Robespierre and the people who were like pretty much in charge of the revolution. He's up there. She writes a letter to Chauvelin talking about this other guy and how he sides with the royals and he's bad. Well, that guy ends up dying because of her letter. So Percy gets really upset and distraught, and he's like, she's not the person I thought she was. I don't know what to do. And he pretty much like just stops their relationship. They just got married. They're still married. They continue to stay married. But like they sleep in separate rooms. He doesn't talk to her. They don't have any like real kind of relationship. And so because he's just really upset with her. Well, as all this is going on, there is this like person in France who keeps saving royals as they're like about to be guillotined. And they call him the Scarlet Pimpernel because all of the letters that he leaves and stuff like that, or when they find that a prisoner has gone missing, his seal is always there and they know who it is. So they call him the Scarlet Pimpernel. That's a flower. That's what the seal is. It looks like that flower. So he's running around France saving all of these royals and stuff, and Chauvelin hates it because that's exactly what he does not want to happen. So he starts trying to catch the Scarlet Pimpernel, and he talks to Marguerite and tries to get her to help him, and Marguerite is like, no, I don't work for you anymore. You can't blackmail me anymore, which is how he got the letter originally that hurt that other man. He like blackmailed Marguerite into doing it. And she says, you know, I live in England. I'm safe. I'm married. You can't do anything to me anymore. Leave me alone. And Chauvelin says, well, actually I can, because I know for a fact that your brother, Armand, works with the Scarlet Pimpernel. And he's coming to England, and when he gets here, I'm going to capture him, and he's gonna tell me who the Scarlet Pimpernel is, and then I'm going to have him killed. So she gets really upset about that, and she tells Percy, and Percy says, don't worry about it. I will take care of Armand. I will save him. Don't worry about it. Well, the whole thing, it turns out that Percy is the Scarlet Pimpernel, and all of his friends, including Armand, go to England and they wear disguises and they save all of these French royals and bring them to England with them. And Percy eventually finds out that Marguerite was blackmailed and that she didn't mean to hurt anybody, and she's been upset about it the whole time. And they save Armand, and they defeat Chauvelin, and it's good. It's a really good book. The musical's even better. Like, the book could be difficult for some people because it's written in, like, very old dialect. So, like, if you struggle with Shakespeare, you're probably not going to like this book because it's right around that. It's not around that time period, but it's language like that. So if you and I mean, stuff like Dickens, like if you struggle with Charles Dickens or Victor Hugo and books from that kind of era, you would probably struggle with this book. But the musical is really great. I've loved the musical for a very long time. I've seen it like 3 times. The original Broadway cast is very good, but if you can get the replacement Broadway cast, which has Rex Smith as Chauvelin, it's even better. I love Terrence Mann. He's good, but Rex Smith is just amazing, and I adore him. So I 100% recommend this. I tried to come up with my favorite song from the musical, and I couldn't come up with one because they're all amazing. I love the whole thing. It's kind of scary because it takes place in like a scary time period, but I mean, there's nothing inappropriate. It's just kind of intense, like kind of like Les Mis. It's just kind of an intense story, but I really liked rereading the book. I really liked listening to the musical again, and yeah, I completely recommend it. I loved it a lot.
Funny, the first time I ever heard of the Scarlet
Pimpernel, yeah.
Was one of my childhood friends that, if you ever watch this, you know who you are, but it was one of my childhood friends, and I mean, we're friends now, but it was her favorite. And I was like, what the crap? Like, what? And I watched it, and I used to call it the Scarlet Pimpernel. Don't know why, I just did. And it was good. I liked it. I haven't seen it in years, but I definitely need to rewatch it. It sounds really good.
It's very good. Yeah, one of my best friends when I was growing up, her favorite movie was the Scarlet Pimpernel. And it's not the musical, it's just a movie, but
oh yeah, the movie. Hers was the movie as well.
Yeah, that's her favorite movie. And we watched it on a lot of sleepovers, and it was good. So I recommend the movie too. I think it's like 80s. It came out in like the 80s, but yeah, very good.
Well, high five to old friends, right? Thanks for doing that. Okay, well, Hannah, that sounds really good. Sounds like you really enjoyed that. The book I read was Tuck Everlasting. It is a movie. I've never seen the movie, but after I read the book, I looked into it, and they said that the movie has more of a romantic feel to it.
Yeah.
The book didn't really have that feel because, first of all, Winnie, the main character, the main person, is literally 10.
Yeah.
That's right, friends, 10. And it would have been real weird if she had a romantic, because I mean, 10-year-olds have crushes, and obviously they have elementary school, boyfriends or girlfriends or significant others, but no, that would have been weird. Anyway, so like I said, it's about this girl named Winnie, who is 10 years old. She comes from a fairly wealthy family. Like, they own a forest, basically, and she just is sick and tired of them telling her what to do, and so she's like, oh, I'm gonna go on my own adventure. So she goes to the forest. She runs into this guy named Jesse, and finds out that, well, he's like, hey, I'm 100, and she's like, yeah, right, you fibber. And then his mom and older brother, so Jesse's the youngest, and then there's his older brother, and then just their mom and dad. And the mom's name is May, and then I can't remember the other two. And I could look it up, but yeah, it's not that important to know their names, the dad and the brother. But anyway, so she goes to the forest and finds out that, runs into Jesse, and then she's like, ooh, look at this creek, I'm gonna take a drink from it. And Jesse's like, hey, don't do that. And she's like, well, why not? And then they're like, if you drink from that, you'll become immortal. And she's like, ooh, should I, shan't I? And that's basically the entire struggle throughout the entire book, is she's fighting with herself, like, do I want to become immortal or do I not? Like, what are the but anyway, so the mom and brother get to where they're at, and is like, oh, well, that's our most guarded secret. Like, in the nicest way they possibly could have, they basically kidnap her. Like, they're like, hey, friends, so like, this is a secret, and you're 10 and you're immortal, so why don't you come with us? And there you have it. But anyway, so she goes with them where they take her, and there's this guy in a yellow suit who is like, oh, tree that makes you, or a fountain that makes you immortal. Let's sell this to people and make millions. And he basically gets Winnie's family to sign over papers saying he could have the forest, so he could sell the water in the pond, so he could, and so that he would tell Winnie where, or tell Winnie's family where they were. But then the family, the Tuck family, really just love having someone who ages and like an actual child in their house, because the youngest is 17. Like, he's not a kid anymore, and they haven't had a real kid in a long time. But anyway, so Winnie doesn't really think that they're immortal. She's like, I don't know, that's silly. And then the guy in the red suit comes and basically tries to tell her secret and all of this stuff. So May, the mother of the Tuck family, basically hits him over the head with a gun and knocks him out. And then she goes to prison, but and then Winnie has this huge, like, all of these decisions to make, like, does she help the family that she's become really close with, or does she not? And she ends up taking May's place in jail, or prison, or whatever, and so the Tuck family can flee. But Jesse, the 17-year-old, he's the youngest, and he gives Winnie some of the water from the what have I been calling it? Just the immortality water. And is like, hey, if you, like, when you turn 17, if you want to drink this, then we'll be the exact same age and we can go travel the world together. And I don't think this is necessarily weird. I think he just at that point felt really lonely and just wanted a friend and someone to do something with and experience new things with. But anyway, so she goes to jail, and it doesn't really say, like, for sure that she did or did not take the immortality water, but it's implied because years later they go back to where they're from and they find Winnie's tombstone. And so it just really like but yeah, basically throughout the entire story it just shows little by little Winnie progressing into becoming a young lady and like making hard choices and like decision making and all of this stuff. And yeah, you really don't ever get to see her make that choice, but you kind of infer that she does because you have her tombstone. And yeah, that's about it. Honestly, it was a little like, I almost feel like there were a lot of things going on in this. Personally, it wasn't my favorite. I don't think I'll read it again. I honestly don't think I'll ever watch the show either. Like, if I'm being honest, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't horrible. Definitely wasn't my favorite. It's not that long. Oh, I even forgot to say who the author was. I'm so bad at that. It's by Natalie Babbitt, I don't know. But it's only, sorry, I'm trying to get to it. It's only 140 pages long. I mean, it's pretty thin. It's not that big of a read. You can finish it in literally a day if you are wanting to read it. I think it might be a good book because the words and the dialect are very simplistic, which I do appreciate. So I definitely think that someone who is younger, like maybe in preteens or early teens, would really enjoy this book. And I think too, like, it can strike up the conversation of like, would you do something wrong for the right reason, or would you be immortal, or what would you do if you were in her situation? I personally don't think I would be immortal, just because I'm not afraid to die. I'm not. It's not something I'm afraid of. It's not something that, like, I worry about, if that makes sense. Obviously, I want to live in a happy and well-lived life, but it would be so hard to be immortal and watch all of the ones I love pass away before me, and, like, I just stay the same age.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would not be able to do that, especially, like, if none of them could be immortal with me. If I had to go at it alone, I would not do it. Like, no way. So, there's mine. Hannah, would you be immortal or not?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not afraid of dying. Also, like, I'm kind of looking forward to, like, getting older. Like, I'm at a weird age where, like, the kids I babysat are graduating high school. And I'm like, oh, I'm so old. But then at the same time, I'm also, people are like, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like, I'm a child. I don't have to figure that out yet, okay? So, like, I'm in this in-between stage where it's like, but I'm too old for that. But I'm too young for that. So, like, I wouldn't want to be stuck here. That's for sure. Like, I would not want to be 24 for the rest of my life. It sucks. Don't do it. It sucks. So, like, it's just the most stressful part of your life. Like, you need to work and get married and have a relationship and have children and go to college and, like, buy a house and a car and
people expect you to be all of that right now.
All
like,
of it. Yeah, you, like,
how many
you cut one thing and you're like, my mental health can't handle this, so we're not buying a house yet. And everyone's like, wow, you suck as an adult. And I'm like,
Yes.
mm.
I feel like even living in an apartment, it's like, oh, well, you should have a house right now. Like,
I
why
get
are you
asked,
in an apartment?
I get asked why I don't have a house. I have strangers ask me why I don't have children yet. And I'm like, hello?
I'm listening. It's Carson. You can wave. They can see your hand.
Hello?
That was Carson. Sorry, he just got back with our food. But anyway, go on. Like,
yeah, like
I think this is a really good discussion.
I mean, I get asked by random people who have no right to know anything. They're like, oh, are you in college? Have you graduated? Why don't you have children? And I'm like, well, it's none of your business, but it's such a huge difference from when we first got married. Because Ryan and I got married at 19. And everyone was like, you're too young to get married. Don't you dare have children. You can't handle it. Go live with your mommies and daddies. Like, you are not ready for this. And now it's been 4 years later, and they're like, so why don't you have children? Where's your 401k? Are you good for retirement yet? And I'm like, guys,
I am 24. So Hannah and I are the same age. And I cannot stress this enough. Carson and Ryan are twins, so obviously they're the same age.
Yes.
And actually, fun fact, Hannah and I are older than them by 11 months, and you're older than them by
4 months.
Woo! So I'm the oldest of the group. But no, people will literally walk up to me and be like, why don't you have kids yet?
Yeah.
But you guys should have kids. And it's like, okay, like, I know it's coming from a good place, but guys, like, asking someone why they don't have kids, or if they're going to have another kid, or
none of your business.
Yes, it's none of your business. It's probably a sensitive subject for a lot of people because, guys, infertility is a thing, and honestly, people sometimes just don't want to have kids. Like, that's okay. I personally, we are planning on having kids, but, like, that's not part of our thing right now. That is not where we're at.
Yeah, so I just feel like it's nobody's business. Like, people ask me, I've had people ask my mom, they're like, so Hannah's been married for a while, like, don't you want grandkids yet? And my mom's like, stay out of it. Like, not your body. Go away, please. You're being super creepy. So, it's just a huge switch going from, like, you are too young, you can't have kids, to, like, so, you're running out of time. When are you gonna have kids? I'm like, I'm 24, not running out of time. None of your business. I'm not gonna tweet it. Like, hey guys, it's time. Like, y'all will know when I tell you, and that's it. And if I don't tell you, don't talk to me. Like, just don't talk to me. So, yeah, it feels weird too, because I have friends who are not married, still living with their parents, completely single, doing their own thing, and my best friend has 2 kids. She's married with 2 kids, works full time, and I think she's going to college right now too, and, like, just doing everything that a person could possibly be doing at one time. She's doing all of it, and her kids are adorable and great, and I love them greatly. And she's doing a really great job, and I'm really proud of her. But, like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Yeah, I have a friend who has 2 kids and adopted her sister-in-law because her sister-in-law is only like 12 and was able to adopt her into her family. And I'm like, yeah, so, like, want to go on a
dog?
trip? Like,
I have a dog. Does that count? We took our first step. I have a dog.
I think it counts. I have a dog. I'm trying to convince my husband to get another dog, but again, we live in an apartment and I don't want to do that. Like, one dog in an apartment is enough right now. But
Started smaller. I tried to convince Ryan to get another dog, and he was like, not till we have a house. And I was like, okay, so could I get like a hamster? So I'm trying to convince him to let me get a hamster. Our dog Mo, Ryan is his favorite, and I don't matter. So I'm like, so him and Mo are like cuddling, and I'm like, I'm so lonely. Like, nobody loves me.
Carson and Sully will be cuddling, and I'll just touch Sully's paw, and he'll like move
He's like,
it.
ugh,
Or
yeah.
or like I'll touch him, and he'll like scooch away so he can still be touching Carson, but that I'm not touching him. And I was like, dude, I give you treats. I let you have the toys you want. I take you on walks. Yes, sometimes I have to discipline you because you eat my shoes. That was when he was a puppy. But like, love me. I'm feeding you. I'm giving you treats. Like, Carson has purposefully made it so I am the treat person because Sully loves him. Like, I can call Sully in the mornings just when we kind of are waking up, and I'll be like, Sully, come here. And he'll be like, nope. And then if Carson calls him, in he goes. But
yeah, he listens to Ryan more. He first thing in the morning, he jumps up and he cuddles like on top of Ryan's head, on his pillow, far away from me. And I'm like, good morning. Hi. So I'm trying to convince Ryan to let me get a hamster so that I have a friend. Like,
yes. No, I thought it was funny when we both had Mo and Sully would always go to you and just want to be hanging out with you. But then Mo would always want to go to me and hang out with me.
You're his favorite. Yeah.
Oh, I miss him so much. And it's like, I can be every other person's favorite or any other dog's favorite other than my own dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, seriously? And because my friend, I have a friend, I call her Chauncey. Hey, shout out to you. But her dog Brady loves me. Like, loves me. He loves her boyfriend too, but like me. And he'll like do a full-on butt wiggle and come darting towards me and literally will not leave me alone until I leave. And it's the cutest thing. But anyway, that was a tangent. So yes, I think it's a step closer with a dog. Mind your own freaking business, everyone. Be nice, be positive. Like,
that was a long tangent that pretty much goes back to, no, we don't want to be immortal. No, thank you, Tuck. We're good. Like,
yes. Well, and then it's like, obviously you can see how lonely they are.
They were trying to they kidnapped a 10-year-old. They kidnapped a 10-year-old. That's how low their life. And I mean, they were living in like a tree house in the middle of the woods alone. They couldn't have any friends. Tuck's older brother, his wife left him because she thought that he was evil because he wasn't aging. Like, it's terrible. Sounds terrible.
Yeah. But okay, too, if you were married, like, obviously, if I drank the water and found out I wouldn't age ever, I would give it to Carson so he could, like, and I bet Carson would take it so he wouldn't age with me, so we could be eternal. Oh, and the thing is even like, they're immortal. Like, even if they're hung, shot, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they won't die.
They do not die. So I think that just strikes up an interesting conversation, because I know a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, immortal, you could do everything you ever wanted to. But then it's like, I don't want to see my loved ones die before me. Like, I don't want to have to go away because I'm immortal and like never see my family again. But anyway,
I agree.
There's that rant. Guys, if it's not it's none of your business if people have a house or don't have a house or have kids or don't have kids. They have their own circumstances. They make their own choices. And it has nothing to do with you. So, with that being said, be kind. And I think this is it.
I think we're good.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see you guys next week. Next week is our book club book. Just a reminder, it is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So if you guys want to read it and come join us, comment questions, tell us what you liked about it, give us your opinion. We'd love to hear it.
Oh, and obviously, like, we see each other for some holidays and stuff. And if you're wanting to do a special subscription box, let us know.
Yes.
Because we're very, like, we're curious what you guys want. So let us know, friends.
Yep.
Let us know. Okay. Have a great week. Bye,
guys.